After receiving a chance email from Sutton Locomotive Works, I headed High Wycombe for the Scale Four Society's Scale Forum exhibition. As we walked into the show, we were greeted by Boston Frodsham. The layout is set in 1975 to 1985-ish, and is partly based on the swing bridge at the entrance to Boston Docks in Lincolnshire, and partly on the wharf at Frodsham in Cheshire. Inspiration for modelling the swing bridge was from a supplemented issue of the Traction magazine back in 2005, whilst a number of pictures of the wharf at Frodsham showing an RB22 crane gave the urge to model this. Operations of the layout assumes that trains approach the docks via a branch line off the main line, and enter one of 3 reception/departure sidings, which are partially modelled on the layout. As mainline locos are too heavy to cross the swing bridge, they uncouple and move off to the stabling yard. A Class 03 and 08 shunter then move the wagons, a few at a time, over the swing bridge and into the dockside area, returning with other wagons for dispatch. Ultimately, the mainline locos run round to enable it to depart with the outgoing train. Track work uses X-acto scale rail and chairs on ply sleepers. Operation is via a lens DCC system, and all the locos are fitted with sound decoders. Points are activated by tortoise slow-motion motors, controlled from a lever frame which has been built from a Scale Four Society kit. All buildings are scratch-built, and based on those found in Boston and Frodsham area. Of particular note is the octagonal control building for the swing bridge. A working replica of the somersault signal found adjacent to the swing bridge is included, as is a working flashing navigation beacon. Here we see the 03 and 08 shunter crossing the swing bridge with a collection of China clay wagons. As we see the shunters slowly making their way towards the sidings, we look across the water and see the Class 31, which brought the train in, depart towards the main line. A short while later, and we see a Class 37 arrive with a rake of Redland PGA wagons. The shunters are eager to take them away and are seen crossing the bridge once again. There were a number of unfinished layouts of the exhibition, demonstrating the hard work that's put into building such exact scale models. North Elmham is situated on the branch to Wales next to the sea, and is the first station of Darren.
He doesn't get any taller.
On first appearance, it made seem like a typical East Anglian branch line, but there was heavy grain traffic with granaries at North Elmham, Ryborough and Faringdon. There was also a rail-served creamery at North Elmham, generating regular milk traffic. Kitedale is set in the West Pennine foothills. This LM&R terminus operates in 1960s guise, after being rebuilt from the well-known Kite Houses exhibition layout built by David Hawkins and Tony Sullivan. Kitedale has now been moved to Lancashire to become an ex-Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway terminus to the north of Rochdale, with a connection to the Oldham Loop line. Kitedale is the passenger terminus, but the line continues beyond the station to a paper mill, quarry and industrial goods only line. The period is the late 50s, early 60s, represented in the final years of steam and the start of diesels, with DMUs on passenger services. But on this occasion, it's a Fairburn tank which is running round its train.
Can you imagine doing
Right, mate.
I mean, the one I... Yeah, it's even the smallest station I'm on. You're going to have 30.
Bankside is exhibited as a layout under construction. It is set in 1951 and loosely inspired by the tiny Ur Street loco facility and adjacent Southwark goods depot in South London. The prototype loco sub-depot was squeezed in between London Bridge, Charing Cross and Cannon Street stations and provided a turning and limited servicing facility for locomotives holding services to and from those stations. A description of the depot appeared in August 1975 issue of Model Railways. Bankside is being constructed by the South London Area Group. Their aim is to construct a small, easy manageable layout for exhibition, but one that differs from what has been done before. And to me, this is quite clear. It did pose something quite special when looking at this layout, even though it's still in its developing stages. I quite enjoyed the fact that it wasn't a finished layout. It's quite nice to see how other people construct their own layouts. It gives you an idea of how to do your own, because sometimes you can just look at those baseboards and not be sure what you are going to do. I know I certainly struggle with any layout project I start. And whilst the layout wasn't completed, it certainly wasn't dull. There was plenty of activity going on. Here we can see a schools class moving off towards the turntable, whilst on the turntable is a WD austerity being turned and probably going back for its next working. For a variety of reasons, this project has lain almost dormant for several years, but has recently been revived, and has now progressed to a stage which may be of interest. And to me, it certainly is. United Mills represents a fictitious rail-served small industrial facility set in the Corndon Beef County area of West Fife in the late 1950s to early 1960s period. Although the specific nature of the business deliberately remains a little vague, it revolves around the manufacture of metal castings and fabrications. Life is growing harder for such concerns at this time, and the air of decay and dereliction around the site is palpable. The factory clings grimly on to its rail service due to the poor road access, but the end can't be too far away. United Mills' own locomotive work much of the traffic up to the railhead with BR, but BR locomotives are regular visitors to this end of the line, bringing in and taking out a variety of traffic. United Mills is owned by Ray Knowlton. It started life as something else, a modern image Inglenook design. But following Ray's acquisition, the layout has been altered to coincide with his interests. It has been backdated and relocated further north to the Kingdom of Fife. The presentation has been developed reflecting Ian Rice's cameo principles with new fiddle yards at each end of the model scene. The track work uses X-Acto scale components on a foam board base with manual point control. The mill building is based on one that still exists in Thornburn's Yard in Duns. The locomotives and rolling stock are a mixture of scratch-built, kit-built and re-wheeled ready-to-run products. Richmond, Surrey, by Ian Spalding. Richmond opened as the terminus of the Richmond Railway in 1846, serving what was then an important county town in Surrey. The model is of the London South Western Railway Station, set in 1908. The layout is being built and exhibited in phases. The phase currently being shown is part of the mainline station, also known as the Old Station, the original South Goods Yard and the new station platforms. The layout is modelled to scale and is fully signalled. The track plan was designed in Templot by scanning prototype drawings and overlaying the track. Track templates from construction were based on LSWR prototype drawings from the South Western Circle. All buildings are scratch built using existing floor plans and photos where they exist. The model runs to a timetabled sequence based on actual working timetables of the era. London South Western Railway passenger services from the old station include the roundabout service from Waterloo via Twickenham or Wimbledon, and Waterloo to Windsor, Reading, Kingston and Shepperton. Next we come up to Faringdon by Rex Davidson. I have to admit it's one of my favourites of the show, and that's because I had lived in Faringdon for several years. The layout is a scale model of the former GWR branch station at Faringdon in Oxfordshire, or as at the time it was period, it would have been West Berkshire, and is entirely hand-built in 4mm scale to P4 gauge. The model depicts the station as it might appear during the transition from GWR to BR ownership during the period between 1947 and 1955. As was typical of minor routes, the building retained the colours of the former GWR, but most of the engines and stock carry the new liveries of British Railways. Although Faringdon had seen passenger service linking the town to both Swindon and Didcot, by 1945 the service was simply a shuttle service to the junction at Uffington. This ceased at the end of 1951. Some artistic licence has been used extending the time frame of the model and showing more varied range of typical branch line trains that would have been seen. So in addition to the pannier tank with its curious concertina coach that formed the real Faringdon branch train in the final years, viewers may also see large and small prairie tanks on local services from Swindon and Didcot, as well as a collect goods engine on branch freights. An auto train with a collect 14XX tank also appears from time to time.
Might well have marshalled.
The construction of the layout adopted entirely conventional approaches. The track work is all handmade using the rivet and ply method with cosmetic chairs. The buildings are made from card and painted with watercolours, following Pendon practice, and the scenery shows the influence of Pendon and Barry Norman's work. Engines and rolling stock include some converted items of ready-to-run models, but most originate in good quality kits. The original layout, built by Stephen Williams, was featured in his Great Western Branch Line Modelling Trilogy. It is also featured in Model Rail Journal, issues 77 and 241, and British Railway Modelling, June 2018. The layout was extended in 2018 to include the street scene that lay immediately beyond the station gates. A series of articles describing this project has recently appeared in Model Railway Journal, issues 270, 273, 275 and 280, for those who are interested. Here we see the pannier tank locomotive running around its very unusual concertina coach. The coach itself is said to be a slip coach that's been converted for the branch line. It's modelled absolutely wonderfully. And that's one of the things about this show. It's not just about the layouts, it's about the wealth of modelling that's put into everything you see. The locos, the rolling stock, the buildings, lots and lots of this is scratch built. It really is high quality modelling, and there's so much to appreciate. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea for an exhibition, but to go and see this work, to appreciate it, I really enjoyed it.
So the actual coach that was used on the branch with this. It's got a guard position at both ends, it's your windows, so you have control from either end. I don't know how it is marshalled. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
And so we move on to Ravenscourt Sidings by Simon and Terry Bendel. Ravenscourt Sidings is a fictionist layout set in the industrial heart of Teesside. Taking its inspiration from the heavy industries found in the area, the layout features a rail-served steel distribution terminal with overhead gantry crane. Other passing freight traffic also features, while the line still supports a Spartan passenger service in the form of DMUs. Set during 1988, the layout depicts the early period of the sectorisation of BR, when rail freight adopted the subsector structure and associated triple grey livery. Freshly repainted locos in the new livery rub shoulders with classmates still variously carrying BR blue, rail freight grey, and assorted other colours. With Thornby being the local main depot, its fleet of Kingfisher emblem shod diesels is much in evidence, working a variety of trip, mixed and bulk freights. The layout is built to 18.83 P4 gauge using P4 track company products. All structures are scratch built, with some incorporating items from Wolfers. Locos are variously from Bagman, Hornby and Helden, with freight stock being a mixture of ready to run and kits.
Yeah, I've got a bolt there for the alignment. And,
Here we see Class 37501 running round its train, which it has just arrived with. The loco itself is in a very unique livery of British steel blue with large BR logo. And doesn't it look fantastic? Next we see Class 47599 departing with a rake of box vans.
anything a bit wide, we're going to be safe. So I've got aluminium rails that extend over the edge. In fact, on one of the layouts, I've got outrigger legs as well. Because we wanted a flat front for the closure. Yeah. You could do a
And a short while later, Class 56124 passes through with a coal working.
I can, I'll take some pictures of the bigger one. Send me a link over off here. The bigger one is a bit more robust.
We'll be down with them tomorrow. First time about July last year.
Right, okay, yeah.
We looked out the area.
Well, I've got another year to go before I retire, but I think we sort of they squeeze every last drop out of the meat.
No chance of early retirement.
Sorry?
No chance of early retirement.
No, early's gone now. 65 in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh wow. Very happy return.
Market Bosworth by Dave Hewitt and Peter Bettany. Market Bosworth was a station on the line between Moira West Junction and Nuneaton, built and operated by the Ashby and Nuneaton Joint Railway, a company jointly owned by the MWR and Midland Railway. The joint railway also operated a branch line from Shackerstone to Colville. The station is to the west of the market town of Market Bosworth, and the model is a representation of the station and goods yard in 1908. All the facilities of the station are represented on the layout, including the station building, station master's house, coal marshalling sidings, cattle dock, carriage landing, goods shed, and up and down sidings. Operation of the layout is by a sequence of moves that bring together all the traffic that would have been seen at the station over a period of days. It is aimed at providing entertainment to visitors. And now for something I've certainly never seen in the exhibition circuit before, a Danish layout. So the pronunciation of this will probably be very wrong, but I'm going to go with Obbekaer. It's P87. The owner of this layout says that it's unashamedly experimental. After many years of modelling a British subject in P4, he wanted a new challenge and found it in this scale, which is fine scale HO modelling. The real location is a village just east of Ribe, and the assumption is that a private railway, typical of rural Denmark, linked Ribe on the west coast of Jutland with Vojens into the east. Such a line was planned in the 1920s as southern Jutland was returned to Danish rule, but never built. It's a sleepy rural station, woken several times a day by the passage of a rail bus or mixed train, but hopefully a lifelike portrayal of many similar locations in Denmark in the 1950s and early 1960s. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then please click the subscribe button. And hopefully, I'll see you again sometime soon. Thanks for watching.